And welcome back to the South Dakota Transplant. It's a little bit gray today, but that means we also received a little over 1/4 of an inch of desperately needed rain last night. This week we're going to be talking about raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and just plain garden space.
I'm sure you're tired of me saying this, but it's still too cold to plant your squash, cucumbers, pumpkins, tomatoes, and peppers. I know. You see people already putting them in the ground, and the stores are certainly selling them like crazy. But you really should wait until the right soil temperature. Right now, we're in the upper 50s. Squash, pumpkins, cucumbers, you need the temperature to get to at least 60 for the soil, and tomatoes and peppers need 70. You should be probably okay to plant your squash, pumpkins, and cucumbers the weekend of May 27, but you'll likely need to wait until Memorial Day to plant your tomatoes and peppers.
I've talked a little about my planter boxes: lettuce, spinach, more lettuce with kale. Yesterday I was able to get my potatoes planted. These are potato sacks. They're not quite planter boxes, but they count the same. I also have leeks and onions in some planter boxes. Planter boxes are quite versatile, and you can put many things in them. I just wouldn't put necessarily viney plants like squash or cucumbers in a planter box or a pot. This is one of my raised bed gardens in my yard. This has leeks and assorted onions in it. Raised bed gardens are great for this sort of plant that does not really need to go terribly deep in the root system, and neither onions nor leeks go very deep in the root system. Raised bed gardens typically will only have 3 to 4 inches of super loose dirt, which makes them ideal for shallow rooted vegetables, but maybe not the best for deep rooted or tuber vegetables like turnips, potatoes, and carrots.
A really large raised bed like this one also has its own advantages. Being taller, it might be easier for you to work in, to plant, and to harvest. It certainly isn't as hard on your back. In addition, the depth of the soil will allow it to hold on to water longer. However, as you can guess, these are very expensive to build and maintain, and it is certainly harder to work the soil at the beginning of the season. You're not getting a tiller up here. Raised bed gardens in your backyard, like the one I showed you in mine, have a lot of advantages. They also have some disadvantages, like they don't hold water as well. They evaporate fairly quickly, and they do cost a fair bit to get started up front. Planter boxes, on the other hand, can be used in just about any space. There are lots of plans online for building these, or many places where you can buy them. These are great, again, because you don't have to bend over. Being shallow, the soil is easy to work at the beginning of the season by hand. They don't hold water as well as being in the ground, but you can plant just about anything in them. If you are building or buying and you plan to put soil directly into the planter, make sure it has a way for water to drain. It is very easy for plants in planters to get root rot. Planters like these are also great to control weeds, especially if you use pots to put into the planter itself. Again, the size also makes it easy for you to get in them.
In between these green posts is my big garden. It's located in one of the many parks around town and sponsored by the Master Gardeners. This is something that anyone can apply to have in future years, but they're all sold out for this year. It's a traditional garden, in-ground, tilled, big. It's a weed magnet. It does hold the water better than in a raised bed or a pot, but it's perfect for what I need it to do. Hold lots of vegetables, lots of plants, and get lots of reward for the work that I'm willing to put into it. That's it for this week on the South Dakota Transplant. Next time, we'll go to the store and we'll look at some fertilizers for your garden, and we'll also start planting, especially squash and other things that need vines, and we'll show you how to make some supports for your vines that won't cost you an arm and a leg. Until then, I'm the South Dakota Transplant.